Kona for the Women's IRONMAN World Championship here in just a few days, here with the Ironman Insider Podcast presented by Morton. I'm your host, Matt Lieto, and this week we're going to have a chance to sit down with some of our pre-race favorites and get a little insight as to what's going through their minds as they get ready for race day. We've got a good group of ladies for this podcast, so let's dive in. I will say, pretty excited. It's been a couple years. Last time I saw Skye was 2 years ago here, so I'm excited to have her as our next guest.
Yes.
Nothing's changed since then, right?
Nothing's changed. We're just back here in Kona, same spot, same weather. No, like everything's changed. Nothing about my life is the same. That's literally how I feel. Other than like purple bikes are still the best. That's the only thing that's the same.
You're wearing less purple than I would have expected. You got purple down below.
You know, sponsor stuff. The shoes are purple. People probably can't see that, but
there you go. Tell us about what's changed.
Well, I got pregnant and had a baby, and I'm a mom now, and it is amazing. Like, I mean it when I say nothing feels the same. Everything about me feels different. Like the perspective on life, on just the world, everything. My heart is changed. My priorities are different.
That's awesome.
It's amazing. Like I love being a mom. It's been way harder to get back to fitness than I thought it would be. And I don't like using the word hard because I think it has a negative connotation, as if like, oh, this is way hard. And it is way hard, but it's also so good. It's just, I've just really had to adjust expectations and reframe like how I do things. I cannot compare to my old life. That is not good.
That's amazing. And I'm going to touch more on all those changes.
Yeah.
But kind of a test for me is I'm going to ask this question and see how it varies from years past. What are your goals for the weekend?
My only goal is to finish. Like that's the only non-negotiable. And other than giving my best and not letting myself off the hook, just like when it gets hard, I'm going to keep pushing. But I have no result expectation or goal. I'm just happy to be here. And that doesn't mean I'm going to go like skip the marathon and just take my time. I'm going to give it everything I've got. But I also just really respect what I've been through in the last year. Like I'm only 10 and a half months postpartum at this point. I'll be 11 like by the time we race. And I just really, really respect everything that a woman's body goes through to grow the child, birth the child, recover from all of that. And so just getting here is a win for me, honestly. And I also just respect how my priority has been my daughter and not necessarily putting myself through the absolute ringer from day one to get Ironman fit. Like I've just done the best I could.
Yeah. And I think you know that I don't ask that question to diminish that at all.
No, yeah.
It's because every time you're on this side, I ask the question, you're like, I'm going to be this place. I'm going to take it to him and it's going to be nothing, right? And it's like to see that change.
Yeah.
How does that feel different in that chair?
It's really freeing, honestly, because I know what it's like to be on that other side of like the pressure, the expectation. No, even if you pretend those don't exist, they do. Whether it's from sponsors or yourself, like you make it up. And I literally don't feel any of that right now. Like, I don't know. I think half the triathlon world doesn't even know I'm here. You know, seriously.
It's probably true.
Seriously. And yeah, it's so freeing because no matter what happens, like, I don't want to say I don't care, but my life is just so much more enriched and better being a mom now than it was when I didn't have a daughter. And so I have that to go home to. And it's kind of cliche to be like, oh yeah, well, no matter, my kid doesn't care. But it's true. Like, you can't understand it until you feel it and experience it. But yeah.
And I love that for you because I feel like I never doubted that you enjoyed and loved triathlon.
Yeah.
But like, you're very serious when it came to race week, right? Like, don't mess with Skye race week. I mean, obviously, I'm kind of kidding, but like,
I thought I was like one of the nicer pros to deal with on race week.
No, you certainly are, but I could tell that like you were so focused on those goals that you set for yourself.
Yeah.
That was very serious.
Yeah.
Like, we always have great conversations and stuff, but I love seeing that in you.
I think one person pointed out to me who knows me well, he pointed out about how obsessive I was before. And maybe, to me, that's like what it took, right? Sure. You kind of have to be very obsessive to be very, very good. And so it's been really cool. I can't be as obsessive. I can't be as perfect and regimented. Like, I literally cannot. Because I can't control everything and I need to take care of my baby. So it's cool just to like surrender to all of that and just be here. I'm just curious to see what I can do. And I might surprise myself, or I might be like, you know what? Yeah, you can't just, you know, you can't be sleep deprived for 6 months and then go to expect to do well at the IRONMAN World Championship.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But I think it's probably sets up even more so for you to be in that headspace when the level of the field is ridiculous, right? Like you can't be like, I'm going to try to see if I could beat Laura Phillip.
No,
right? Like,
no, I'm very realistic here.
No, that's awesome. And the last time you raced an Ironman, you won.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I did.
How long ago was that?
It was almost 2 years.
Crazy.
Yeah, so that was Ironman Florida, beginning of November 2023.
Yeah.
That was just a few weeks after Kona that year.
Yeah.
So it's been 2 years. I haven't even raced a pro race since, it's been over a year and a half since I've even raced a pro race. So it's kind of gutsy to just like be like, hey, I'm just coming to Kona. I don't think it really hit me how gutsy it was until I got here, where I'm like, I just like haven't even raced and I'm just going to rock up. And these women have like spent their entire year preparing for this. And I feel like I'm just like here.
Is there a part of it though that, and I think I appreciate what you're saying, but you're also being a little bit humble. Like you do belong, and like we know you've put the prep in.
Yeah.
Is there a part of you that's like grateful? Because I am, to the fact that you get to experience it without that pressure that you've had in the past, and without that like accountant's mentality of like I will do everything I have to do. Right? Like that's gotta. Like, does this feel? It's obviously not a vacation, but it feels like a different experience.
It's totally different. I mean, you say it's not a vacation, but I did go to the beach with my daughter yesterday. I didn't do that before.
Yeah.
It's a completely different experience. And you mentioned being grateful, and I do feel a lot of gratitude just to be here. And it puts it in perspective. I think I've been good enough for so many years to get here quite easily. And so for me to realize, like, some people spend their entire career trying to qualify for Kona and maybe get to do it once. And like for me to just rock up here after not racing doing an Ironman for 2 years, and I'm not in what I would consider peak world championship shape at all, but I still get to be here and be part of it. Like, yeah, I'm incredibly grateful. And this event is what has driven me and kept me in the game the last months, where things felt impossible and so hard. Like, because there's just so much I can't control. If my nanny's sick, if I'm sick, if I'm exhausted, like, it's been so easy. There's been so many times where I just wanted to quit, honestly, where I'm just like, is this worth it? And I just know how amazing it is to be part of this. And that's what kept me like in it, and not just going back to bed every time, you know?
That's rad. And how cool is that you had this like carrot that is the World Championship for the last 18 months to be able to be like, no matter what happens, I get to go do that race.
Exactly. It, like, as gutsy as it is that I thought how all this would go, it hasn't gone exactly how I thought it would go, but it's been the carrot that I needed, because I don't know, seriously, I don't know that I would even have raced at all this year if I didn't have the World Championship, because everyone's here. I wanted to see everyone. Like, selfishly, I want to be here because I want to see all my friends. I want to see my sponsors. I want to be part of the community again, because like becoming a mom has, like I said, completely changed me. And I've definitely had my doubts of like, do I still have it in me? Do I still love this? Like, do I love my daughter more than this? I mean, of course I do, sure. But there's just a lot of emotions that come with this life change. And so, yeah, it's really good to be here. And I'm so glad I had the wherewithal to think, I'm going to go get my Kona slot and then get pregnant, and then I'm going to get back to Kona. So I'm grateful it's worked out. I think it's been just enough time, like, to get here for me in my circumstance. Like, just enough time where I'm like, yeah, you know what? I can do an Ironman half decent now.
I love it. I bet you'll be a little more than half decent out there.
I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah, no pressure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I think every year, and I haven't said it yet this year for whatever reason, but like if Kona feels like a family reunion.
Yeah.
And how cool is it for you and this family reunion for everybody to be like, oh, like, where is she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully they know I'm here, right? Like
Yeah.
they might not until I get on the run course. They're like, is that Skye? Yeah.
That's amazing. Do you actually feel like there's people that don't know you're here?
Well, I think there's been people, I mean, just mostly social media, right? Where they're like, oh, how did you get a spot? Or like, even
it has
though
been a while.
I've explained it.
Yeah,
but,
totally.
Yeah.
That's
but
amazing.
I've been vocal. I feel like I've been vocal enough. I'm not quite as active on social media as I used to be, but I feel like I've shared.
Well, there's a reason for that too, right?
No, like literally, I'm just busy.
Don't have time.
Yeah.
What is it that makes Kona so special for you this year and for the masses, and why it's kind of the thing that we all come to every year?
For me this year, obviously, just the challenge of getting here after becoming a mom, and just, it's kind of like, it's almost like a gift to myself to be here, to get to go back to do something that I love. And that sounds really insane because the race day is actually so hard that's my gift to myself. But just being here and being a part of it is so fun. And then I'm really excited. It's a women's only year. I have so much respect for mothers now becoming one. Like, you just don't realize the sacrifice and love that mothers just inherently and selflessly give when you become a mother. So I love that I'm going to be on course with like so many other moms. I don't know, it's a bit cheesy, but like I just like look at a woman now, a mother now, and I just see them completely differently, and it's so cool that it's just women only.
It's great. And I think remembering talking to you in the past, I know you were excited. You're probably excited for everybody to be back together.
I do love the everybody.
Year.
Yeah.
But like, and I think we talked about this 2 years ago, like the women's only feels like a warm hug by the time I'm done. It's like the best thing ever. Like, people are like encouraging each other on Elite Drive instead of being like all stoic and trying to intimidate each other. Like,
they're just like not the ego.
Yeah. Sorry guys, it's true.
No, yeah, sorry everyone.
But it feels like that's even more, like, it feels synchronous.
Yes.
That it's all coming together for you this year.
Yeah, it is, and yeah, it'll be great. I wish I could see all my male triathlete friends here as well, but I'll take all the women for now. It's a good welcome back.
That's awesome. Well, welcome back, and appreciate you coming and chatting with us.
Hey, thanks, Matt.
Look forward to seeing you out there on Saturday.
Yeah, I'll be in purple out, so
easily recognizable as always.
I hope so.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep, thanks.
Well, next up for the podcast is Hannah Berry. Hannah, it's been since Topah, I think, since we chatted last.
Yeah, probably would be. It was a while ago. Feels like a lifetime ago.
It's a little bit different of a venue for World Championship than Topah, but also similar in some ways, yeah?
Yeah, I would say a similar chilled vibe, but a lot hotter.
How are you finding the heat in Kona?
I actually love the heat. I have always loved the heat, and I tend to try and chase the hot races, so it works perfectly for me, to be honest, that the World Champs is here in Kona. It's like a beautiful spot. I love the heat. I love the atmosphere, so stoked to be back.
Good. And you've had kind of a progression, or not kind of, a progression from Kona 2 years ago. You were 11th, if I'm remembering correctly, and then 10th in Nice, hoping for that progression to continue?
Yeah, pretty much. That's basically the aim. I think this course suits me better than Nice does. And when I raced here in 23, I had a bit of a rough start to the year that year. Like, I had a bone stress injury, in neck of femur, and I also got the flu quite bad at one point. So for me, 23, like, I actually had a really good race for me where my fitness was at. Right. And yeah, I really loved the day. I just took in all the atmosphere. The women only race that year was just everyone got behind each other. It was like such an amazing feeling out on course. And so, yeah, this year I'm coming in with a much smoother run. And so I'm hoping that brings out a better performance for sure. And I don't know where that will get me on the day, but if I can just race to how I've been training and have a good performance for me, then I'll be stoked.
Yeah, and are you stoked to have one last go at that women's only atmosphere? It's pretty special.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's all I know because last Kona was my only Kona, so it's definitely special. But at the same time, it'll be really fun having men around. I know, like, I'm friends with a lot of the men, and we're all friends, so for us to be combined again will be really awesome as well. So.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I'm also excited for that, but it's funny. It's the atmosphere here in Kona when it's women only is very, very different.
It's different,
for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So do you feel like, with that race 2 years ago and kind of getting around and knowing you weren't quite up to what you could be, do you feel the benefit of having that experience now? Does that give you a little bit more confidence coming into this time?
Definitely. I think there's always a benefit when you've raced a course before and you're a bit more familiar, like coming in that second time. You're more aware of what the conditions are going to be like, how the course is. And so I think, when you come back the second time, you definitely feel a little more comfortable. And I think that helps on race day as well, just being familiar and maybe a little more relaxed than the first time around.
Yeah. And it seems like, I was in Cairns last year and the courses are very different, but in some ways to me it felt similar, right? Like similar challenges. The heat is very similar. Do you feel like you kind of have an advantage with the fact that you've had such great races, obviously in Cairns coming into this race, like what the elements to an extent are going to bring you and how your body's going to respond?
I think every chance you get to race in similar or hot conditions is a plus when this is the World Champs, because it is so hot and brutal. Having raced in Cairns twice now as well as being in Kona in 2023, I do feel like I've had quite a few shots now at sort of getting my race and my nutrition right in the heat. So, fingers crossed I get it right on race day come Saturday. But, there's no excuses because I've had a few goes at it now. Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like your races in Cairns, albeit obviously like the fields aren't as deep as the World Championship, clearly. But you had some battles and you had opportunity to maybe get taken outside of your race to race other women. Does having those types of challenges in Ironman, you think, help an athlete get better for like the World Championship scenario instead of just it being a time trial where there's nobody else kind of around?
Yeah, I mean, I think Ironman is a real balance of those two things, right? Like you obviously want to race every other athlete out there and be aware of what they're doing, but because it is such a huge day, there has to be a certain element of I need to do what my race is. And so, having those battles that Cairns and the previous World Champs had, just those experiences of having other athletes around me and kind of to and froing, it is super beneficial. And good practice. I mean, it's obviously going to be a lot more people coming into this race on Saturday. There's obviously, way more people on the start line and probably a lot more people around my level than what Cairns would bring. But I think I've raced quite a lot this year and raced a lot of good people, and I think I'll be pretty comfortable in that situation, hopefully.
Yeah, and I love the way you put that. And I think now that I think about it, you seem to be one of the athletes that does a great job, or one of the best jobs, of racing those around you when it's appropriate, and then when it's not, just be like, okay, parachute, it's time for me to do my thing. How do you do those calculations? Like, is that a plan ahead of time when you're over watts or over exertion, or is it a feeling to you where you're like, this is too much?
It's actually a bit of both. Like, I always go into a race with quite a clear plan with my coach in terms of like watts and heart rates and that kind of thing. But at the same time, I really like to race or feel as well. Like I definitely am not afraid to, sort of adjust my race based on what I'm feeling. And like if I start to overheat, I'm really not afraid to be like, actually, I need to let these people go. And I don't know, like I'm quite a consistent athlete across swim, bike and run. Like I'm not a standout in any of them, but like none is a massive weakness. So I kind of have the confidence to be like, I could just go on my own if I needed to in any of the three, if you know what I mean. Like if I have to lead a group go because I'm having a rough patch, it's not like I don't panic about it. It's sort of like, okay, I need to just do this myself for a moment and get myself back together and it'll be fine. So that's sort of, my race day is always like a real balance between having that clear plan beforehand, but really adjusting it on the go based on how I'm feeling and if I need to adjust nutrition or something like that.
Yeah, and it's easier said than done.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So it's always impressive that I feel like you do a great job of doing that and listening to your body. Do you think that in the World Championship field that even tips the scales to someone like you a little bit more because there's 3 or 5 women trying to win and they're probably ignoring those impulses a little bit?
Possibly, yeah. I think it can do. You know, those women who are really going, you know, those top 5 or so women that are going for the win, they are going to have to maybe risk it at some point. And maybe they are more willing to risk it than some of the rest of us. That can obviously pay off for them, or it can bite them a bit. So, yeah, I think that does play in my favor a little bit. But I do also think that athletes are getting smarter. Nutrition is more dialed now. Everyone is aware that this is a hot race, so everyone is coming in very prepared. And I do think we see, I don't know, maybe I'm imagining it, but I do think that we see less blow-ups now because I think athletes are actually getting smarter. So, yeah, I don't know. maybe we'll see some blow-ups, maybe we won't. Yeah.
They're always fun to see, kind of.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's entertaining.
Yeah.
If it's not you.
Exactly. Never fun. Bowing up here is not fun.
No, I can imagine.
Not at all. And I'm glad you brought it up, but I think people underestimate the change and the influence that nutrition over the last just 2 or 3 years and the changes technologically, lack of a better term, and how that's affecting the racing. And clearly you understand that. Maybe explain why it's so important. And like I would say it's more important than super shoes or aerodynamic testing or whatever, right?
Yeah, definitely. Way more important than super shoes. I mean, especially in the heat, because you do have to not only balance the carb intake, but the sodium intake in the heat especially is important. So everyone's aware of it now. Everyone has a very clear nutritional plan going in. Of course, it's always easier said than done, and sometimes plans, fall off or like you lose a bottle or whatever. But yeah, I think everyone will have their nutrition dialed and would have practiced it a lot.
Yeah, and Kona, though, I think is maybe one of the races where, they can maybe be overconfident with their nutrition, and because obviously it absorbs in the gut so much better generally, but you add the stress of the heat and it opens it up for maybe people miscalculating a little bit.
Yeah, true. And you have to be a little bit aware. I think that's when like going by feel comes back into it, right? You have to kind of think about how you're feeling and can you feel your stomach's not quite right? Okay, you need to have water for a little bit and hope it settles, or like maybe flat coke works for you to try and settle your stomach. So I think, that's, like I said, my race plans are always, and everyone's probably race plan is always like that balance, right? You have that plan, but you got to be able to adjust it on the go and like, depending on how you feel, sort of make the call yourself. And that comes down to the athlete's kind of responsibility, I think, to manage themselves.
Yeah, and often that call between, the bonk and the not bonk or the blow up comes a lot earlier in the race than people think, right? It's not really usually close to when the blow up happens.
Yeah,
right. It's usually like early, middle of the bike. And you seem, again, because you're so smart and calculated and know that you can do it on your own. I see you as being a person that, you know, if the group is going too fast and you pull out, you're still going to be one that's going to have a consistent performance over that distance, right? How hard is it, like, emotionally to pull that pin when you're like, there's other people around, knowing that that course is like pretty barren and it's really hard to like self-motivate the whole time? Like, how do you make that choice? And then what are you focusing on to break up that course when you've decided I'm just going to ride it by myself?
Yeah, I mean, it is so much harder than like just as we're talking about it. Like it's really difficult, but hopefully I will be able to make the right decisions out there on race day. I think motivation-wise, when you find yourself on your own, I mean, for me, it's not an unfamiliar position because I'm from New Zealand. And we're a small country, and like my first Ironman, I rode 180 kilometers on my own.
Yeah. Because
it was New Zealand Ironman and it was a small field. So for me, like I've done plenty of races where I'm just out there on my own. And so I don't know, I'm not afraid of that. Like if it happens, I'm happy. I'm happy if there's people there. I'm happy if I'm on my own. So for me, yeah, like I don't find it difficult if I need to make that decision to break away from a group, like drop off or whatever. Like it's not like the end of the world, like I said earlier. And motivation wise, I mean, we're in the world champs. So there's always motivation on race day. That's easy. There's no sort of lack of motivation when you're racing the world champs in Kona.
Yeah. And again, talking about your, you know, ascension 11th to 10th, and feeling like this course suits you better. Do you have any expectations on yourself for this race, or just kind of?
I mean, this is probably not the answer you want. You probably want an interesting answer, but not. I don't really love to put a position on it, because I think, like I know I'm fitter than what I was in 23. I know that about myself, but I don't know what everyone else is going to turn up with. And I do think that the sport is moving forward all the time. Like we see faster and faster times out there, and everyone seems to be getting better. So I can turn up and say, well, I think I'm definitely going to go better than my 2023 performance, but I don't know what that is going to, I don't know what result that is going to end in. So I don't want to sort of push it, put a number on it.
No, that's fair. And I will say, it seems like you're getting better and better. Like you had your PR marathon in Kansas this year, right?
Yeah. No, it is. My run has been very consistent now actually since Kona last time. I haven't had an injury, so not a major injury. So yeah, my run has been very consistent, and I think consistency in the run shows just gradual progression. So I'm hoping. It'd be really great if I could get a PR in this run course, but that's obviously pretty hard to do on this course.
It's challenging, but if you follow that recipe you're saying and pull yourself out of what's happening around you, it's attainable for sure.
Yeah, we'll see.
And we've talked about those 5 women that random number we both just came up with, but like that are up there, like this year, and we kind of say this every time there's a world championship, like, this is the best field ever, but like it seems in a lot of ways like it might be, and there's a lot of women that have kind of different strengths that are have the ability to win this race. Do you feel, I know at times it's got to be frustrating as an athlete to see the level progress when you're progressing and it keeps getting better, but then also, like, is there an excitement? Are you happy and proud to be a part of that kind of change in the sport?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like, basically you've just summed it up. Like, it's actually really cool to be part of it as it progresses, and like not just seeing the progress on TV or whatever, but actually being in the races and being like part of it is like, it's very cool. It's very motivating. I guess sometimes you could get frustrated by it because you do a training block and you're like, I'm definitely faster. And then you turn up to a race and you're kind of in the same place. You're like, wait, what's going on here? But it's cool. It's really cool. It's pretty amazing what the top of the sport is doing at the moment. And I expect that on Saturday it's going to be I'm going to assume it's going to be a new course record. It's just the racing is so fast at the moment, and there's so many girls that could win this year that I feel like everyone is going to have to bring their A game. Yeah. So, yeah.
Love it. And it's to me, it's cool because there's some familiar faces from like 5 years ago that are part of it, but a lot of the faces are new, including you, right? Like there's a new guard that's coming, and the new guard is really raising that level.
Yeah, no, definitely. It is. It's a good mix of sort of age and age of athletes, and I think it's going to be an exciting few years to come. I think in the sport, it's going to keep getting faster.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Everything's fine. I mean, the term consistency comes to my mind when I think about you, especially like over races over the season, but also in the race. And I think Kona is a race where consistency pays off. So I'm excited to see you show that off.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Can carry that on.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks for sitting down and chatting with us. It's a busy week.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Pretty excited for our next podcast guest, Steph Clutterbuck. How are we doing?
I'm so well, thank you. Really well, and just so excited to be here.
Why are you so excited to be here? What is it about this place?
Kona's always been, it's aspirational and has been. So I came up as an age grouper, and the one thing you always try and do after you've kind of done the finishing an Ironman thing, or certainly for me, was I want to qualify for the World Championships. And it was here, it was in Kona. And I turned up for the first time and I DNF'd, got a heat stroke. And so it's always been this journey of I need to come back and I need to finish, and then I want to race. So I finished in 2023 and now I want to race it. And obviously being here as a professional, it carries even more weight, because you genuinely are racing against the best in the world, standing shoulder to shoulder with some of the greatest in the sport. I don't take that for granted, and I certainly don't take it lightly either.
Yeah, is it pretty cool being here? Like in 2023, would you have thought, I'll be here in 2 years as a pro?
Definitely not. So I knew that I had got what I needed to take my license by the time I came to Kona as an age grouper, but I would never have expected to qualify. Like it was a goal. Obviously, I wanted to qualify and be here. We didn't think I would qualify for Nice in 24, and I didn't. I only gave myself one shot, and I wanted to qualify here, but the way that I did it and how early I did it was totally unexpected, and has meant that in theory I'd have had a really good 12-month lead up into this, but it's been anything but. But it feels even more special being here as a pro.
Yeah, and how much in hindsight, with everything that I obviously want to talk about what you've been through in the last year, because it's insane to actually get goosebumps talking about it. Does it feel like a odd blessing that you qualified at Chattanooga last year?
Yes.
Because it gives you this runway to be able to like have this experience.
For sure. And it actually, when I qualified, it gave us total freedom to design whatever season I wanted. So when I had the qualification, we were like, actually, you know what, we can throw myself into the Pro Series because I don't need to worry about qualifying. I don't need to look for a smaller race that will potentially have a slightly less strong field to take a slot, because I've got one. So let's go and do the Pro Series as well and see how high I can place, because I love the idea of the series, and I think it's brilliant for the sport, especially for those of us that do the longer distance. So in theory, it would have been great, and this would have been the crowning jewel of my Pro Series season. But it certainly hasn't quite worked out like that.
No, and I don't want to. I think sometimes when we just talk about like you qualified, we diminish like the race. Like you had a great race, in Chattanooga to get there. My
race in Chattanooga was amazing and far beyond what we expected. So I hit the bike course was slightly short, but it was a cancelled swim because of the hurricane. I think it was a 4:14 bike and then a marathon run PB off of that. So it's like a 3:05. For me, it was perfect conditions. It rained all day and was really windy. So kind of played to my strengths on the bike, and then I stayed nice and cool on the run, so ran really fast.
Yeah, it played to your strengths, but also like your strength was taken away as well
Yes.
by not having that swim. So
Yeah.
often you'll talk to people, oh, I didn't have a swim, that's why I had a breakthrough. But like you had your breakthrough in spite of that.
Yeah, we actually said that was the point at which I became a triathlete, because I didn't have to rely on the swim to perform well, because it wasn't there.
That's amazing. So yeah, that is like a baseline of like clearly you have gotten yourself in a short period of time as a pro to the very top. And then tell us about what happened this year and kind of what you've been figuring out and going.
Yeah. So it was actually September last year, I had my first kind of period where I was experiencing chest pain and like a really intense level of fatigue. And I went to the doctor and they weren't kind of sure. And actually I just forgot about it, which is an awful thing to say, but I rested from training for a bit and then I just felt better. So I was like, okay, maybe I was just a bit overtrained or a bit overtired. And then in November, it came back and was much more intense. So I went straight to hospital and had some more tests. And again, the verdict was like, there's something going on, but it kind of looks okay. So we're just like, we'll get back to you. And again, I then forgot about it because I went into off season. I was then rested and built back into training and was feeling good, like not great, but good. And I kind of noticed over the last couple of years that my body wasn't responding to training in the way that I anticipated it would. And I wasn't seeing progression in the way that you should see progression when you're stepping up with training and all sorts. So from April, or actually it was May, so kind of coming back from Texas, I just started to get back into intensity and was out on a run. And it felt like someone was stabbing me in the chest. I was about 3 kilometers from home, so kind of sat on the floor for a bit to make sure I wasn't going to pass out. Walked home with a heart rate that was still up over 120, so it was abnormal cardiac activity. Went straight to hospital, and again they said, yeah, there is something going on. Your stress hormone in your heart is elevated, but we don't think you've had a heart attack, so we're going to send you home. And I was just a bit like, no, I'm not happy with this. So kind of got in contact with one of the best cardiologists or sports cardiologists who happened to live near us, and went through so many tests, so many blood tests, because I could not in good conscience train with the fear that my heart was going to stop beating, because that is the level of pain that I was experiencing. It was just like, I actually don't know if I'm going to have another beat. Like, am I going to wake up in the morning?
Right.
So had all of this exploration through June, and at the end of it, they came back and said, yeah, you've got myocarditis, which is inflammation in the myocardium, which is the muscle around the heart. And resting was obviously the right thing to do, because my heart was compromised. I was considered low risk because I'm healthy, which is great. So my recovery window was relatively short, but yeah, it was full rest for the whole of June, and then I was allowed to exercise at like 65% of max heart rate for a month, which was really easy, which is really hard when you're actually not that well, because your heart rate's really high. And then we got the all clear end of August. That everything was fine, the scarring had healed, and my heart integrity wasn't compromised anymore, which was amazing. But that period through June where every morning it was like, oh, I've woken up today, was before we had that answer about what was going on, it was it was pretty terrifying.
I mean, how scary is that? Like, you literally weren't sure going to bed if you were going to wake up.
And I think it's, I don't know if it's a rational or an irrational thought, but it's certainly what I was experiencing because of the level of pain I'd been in. You know your heart's not supposed to hurt when it beats, and mine was, so I couldn't really understand it.
Yeah, and you know your body, and it was giving you signals that this is not okay. That's crazy. And just to get yourself around the courses that you did this year with that condition, and also POTS diagnosis as well?
Yeah. So another thing that happened with obviously my heart and body being really stressed was I started to notice these really crazy symptoms. So whenever I stood up, my heart rate would just increase like by 50 beats. Like, it was flying as if I was on a run. I was experiencing quite a lot of nausea and dizziness and light sensitivity, and I went to see a respiratory specialist for something else, and he actually said, I think you've got something called nervous system dysautonomia, specifically postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, which is where when you go from lying to standing, you have a heart rate increase of over 50 and you experience nausea, dizziness, like digestion issues, problems with heat, like adaptation and cool, like temperature changes basically. So my body was struggling to regulate itself across all of the things you never think about. So like dry eyes, because my body was forgetting to send moisture to my eyes. And it was getting worse and worse as my heart was getting worse basically. And yeah, it was good because we got that diagnosis. I've turned up to Hawaii in conditions that really trigger POTS because it's hot and it's humid and there's a lot of sunshine. And I know how to manage it, at least better than I did before, which is good.
I mean, to me, it's, I use the word insane, but like, obviously inspiring. Like either of those two on their own. It's incredible that you are functioning as a like well-rounded human. Honestly, like POTS is real deal, right?
Yes.
Like most people are trying to learn how to have a normal existence as a human.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've talked to doctors and you know that it's okay for you to be doing this, but like, do you ever take a step back and realize exactly what you're doing? Because I've been educated on POTS. I'm not as educated on your other thing that you're going through with your heart, but like, again, it is remarkable to be able to exist as a human, let alone have the gumption to show up to a world championship.
I'm really fortunate. I say fortunate. I don't know if that's the right word. My POTS is, we think it's triggered by viruses. So I sit on the more of the spectrum of having it than not, because we all experience various bits of it. And there are people who, they struggle to get out of bed every day, and they need daily help because it is severely debilitating. If you faint every time you stand up, you then think about how many times you stand up in a day. That's enormous. Whereas mine is, when my body is under stress, my symptoms will be worse. And understanding that helps me keep my general stress that my body's under as limited as I can. So we knew that it would be tough turning up to Hawaii because they are conditions that add stress to a normal body, let alone one that is already in fight or flight mode constantly. So I fully recognise that what I am doing is brave, I think, is probably the word. Maybe slightly stupid, but, great things never come from safety or comfort zones or whatever the saying is. And I love this sport so much. And through June and the beginning of July, when I'd have conversations with my partner, Matt, saying, can I do this? Like, number one, can I wake up in the morning? But can I get myself back to a point like I was in Chattanooga, where I'm excited to race and I've got that fight that I want to push on, and can I trust my body to push on enough? Because if I can't do that, I don't want to do this. I'm never going to be able to turn up to a start line and just be like, I'll be fine. I want to race as hard as I can, and this race for me this year it's not about that, and we've put very different goals around it so that I don't feel disappointed that I'm not able to push myself to the well. And a big part of it is learning how to race an Ironman with POTS. Because I have no idea. I raced 70.3 Zell in Austria at the end of August. And this was at the time that I was starting to feel healthy again. So I'd been able to train, and I'd done like 2 interval sessions, which is a bit silly when you think about it. I turned up to race at 70.3. But I got out the swim. And for those of us with POTS, swimming is a really good form of exercise because you're lying down and it helps with blood flow. But then I went straight to running through transition, which is the worst kind of exercise because you're standing up. And I nearly fainted. I can't have that every time I race. I need to find a way to manage it. And is it that it is just fleeting and I can run through it and trust that I'm not going to faint and I will be able to keep moving forward? Or do I need to stand still? And so all of these are new things that I need to relearn about my body. And maybe it will go away and maybe it will be better as it's something that my body gets used to. Because I didn't feel dizzy at the training swim today. So it's I feel like I've got a different body than I thought I did, but I'm actually understanding it now. So I can work with it rather than feel like it's working against me.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like obviously you and sounds like your team are being pretty smart and calculated about everything.
I think we have to.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I won't get through.
And I have to say, you use the word brave and I think courage. And I will often use the word courage when I'm doing an interview or talking about how someone is, but I always qualify it and being like, this is just sport. Courage probably is a strong word for it. But there's no doubt, like, in this situation, like, you're showing a lot of bravery and courage. And it's inspiring to me. And I imagine that, and I know you started a podcast this year where you're very open and clear about the struggles that you're going through. I know it's hard to think about silver linings, but clearly you are trying to use that courage that you have to show other people that they can, be their best in their current situation.
Absolutely. And when we started the podcast, obviously that was before any of this had kicked off, and it had been like, actually, you know what, let's take everyone on this journey to Kona through this year as a second year professional and just like humanize it and feel like we're breaking the barrier down between those that are training and racing as professionals and those that are either aspiring to be so or are the spectators and age groupers that are watching. But it's actually turned much more into, don't accept your limitations or don't accept the limitations that other people put on you. You can do whatever you want if you are able to be sensible about it and break it down and learn the things that you need to learn. Like, we can all have big crazy dreams and they go nowhere. If you really want to get there, you absolutely can. You just then need to be rational about it.
Dude, I love that, because I think often in endurance sports and often in Ironman, you can have people that have this like over positivity and be like, anything is possible. And if you just go in blindly and don't see what your limits or your ceilings might be, that anything isn't possible because you're not doing it with, the right parameters that are going to suit your weaknesses. Right. And
exactly.
That's amazing that you're able to do that and share that with people. And I will say one of the only other people that I've used that word courage with that I can remember in the last few years is Kat Matthews.
Yes.
And I think people can forget what she went through because she's a favorite to win this race. And she's one of the best athletes there is. Won Pro Series last year, in a great position to do so again. But I remember seeing her with the crown that she had from breaking her back just weeks before Kona a few years ago, and I was in tears seeing her. She's walking down Elite E Drive, right?
Yeah.
I know you have been able to spend a lot of time training with Kat, and I want to ask, like, I have written down here, ask what you learned about coming into Kona from Kat, but like, I imagine there's a lot more that you've learned from Kat that's like not just about like performance on race day.
For sure. Kat is a great friend, and 2022 was, it was remarkable, and the whole journey since has been remarkable. And I have absolutely loved watching her this year actually have the confidence that I think the rest of us have had in her for a long time, that she is capable and she's done the work to be phenomenal, because she is, and she showed that. Even the crash in 22 to turning up to Texas in 23 and winning, like that period of moving on and moving forwards and accepting and reflecting on what has happened but never letting it limit you is brilliant. And I think we can all take so much from that. It's like, stuff happens and things don't go the way that we want them to, and not every day is perfect, but we just keep showing up and we keep turning up. And I've spent probably 10 weeks of this summer with Kat, and not every day is perfect, and that's, the favourites that are here they're not turning up having had like 6 months of perfect training where nothing's going wrong, but they are turning up in their best headspace, confident in what they've done, confident in what they've achieved in training, and then ready to just go and execute their day on race day. we are the ones, I say we because I feel like I'm a big part of it, is we're the ones that create the hype over who's going to win and who's going to be on the podium. But those that are trying to do it are actually there being like, actually, this is what I want to execute on the day. This is the process that I'm going to go through to deliver my best day on race day. And whatever happens, happens, because we can't control what anyone else is doing. We can only control what we do and how we navigate ourselves. And I had a lovely chat with Kat the other day, and she was like, I actually just want to be proud of what I do on race day, and that's a win. And I think that's a really powerful message. Like, if you can execute a day that you are proud of, we can't ask for any more than that. And that pride will look different for everyone. But if you've done the build that you want, and you've executed the training that you want, and then you execute a day that is positive and gives you pride, that's a success.
Very well said. And for you personally, what does that look like at the, when you cross the finish line on Saturday? What in the rear view will have you be like, okay, I accomplished what I wanted to?
So for me, it's really boring. I want to have a good second half of the run, because that's really hard to do here in Kona. And it will mean that I've managed myself really well through till the 21.1k. If I can then be like, actually, you know what, I'm gonna now run with positive thoughts in my head and feel good and get to the energy lab and not feel like I'm melting into the tarmac. So that's kind of how I'm approaching race day, is I want to have a really good final 21.1k, and everything I do before that will set me up for it. So that's fueling, pacing, like hopefully being as invisible as possible, because I have a tendency of not doing that, which I don't have the training to back up this time. So I have a burning platform to not be silly on race day and be fully sensible, so that I can finish really well and just enjoy the finish line.
Yeah, and you say it's boring, but it's smart.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I have some of the pre-race favorites sitting where you're sitting, and they're saying similar things about their goal on race day. And I think with you, though, what's clear is that, again, you and your team are smart enough to know that the best way for you to manage everything else that we're talking about and be able to get across that finish line at all is doing all the things you need to do to be able to be strong that second half of the run.
Yeah, definitely. No surprises. Fuel well, cool well, don't overheat in the swim, and just keep making forward progression until the final 21k, and then I can have a bit of fun, hopefully.
That's awesome. Are you at a point now where you can, because it's crazy to me how quickly all this has happened, right? And like, you didn't know about these diagnoses for a long time. But have you gotten to the point where you can be really proud of yourself and what you've done? Because again, like, I can't say how impressed I am by it, and how, again, ridiculous it is that you're at the level that you are going through the struggles that you've gone through.
Yeah, I think my first feeling of overwhelming pride was crossing the finish line in Zalamsi, to just feel like, it was not any sort of physical performance to write home about, but I got across the finish line, and there was always a piece of me that was not sure if I could, which is why I wanted to race before coming here, because the pressure then on me to finish a race that was at the World Championships in Hawaii would have been too much. So it was probably a bit early, but I wanted to get across the finish line. So yeah, that was pride. And then I think it was then more back to focusing on execution. I'm really emotional as a person, so I have to try quite hard not to feel things, and I catch myself every now and then. So like, I saw Laura Siddle this morning, and she said something lovely, and I feel like, the Incredible Hulk, and he's asked, like, how do you not Hulk all the time? He's like, because I'm angry all the time. I am like this close to crying all of the time. It takes one person saying one nice thing and it just completely pours out. So yes, there is pride that is there, but I am actually trying really hard to just keep it under control, to almost get myself through the next 5 days, so that when I'm on the finish line, and to be quite honest, I'm fully expecting to finish the race, but even if I don't, just making the start line, given where I was in June, and how little training I've done, which is partly, I have this like, I'm really proud, but also I feel like I have not done the work that this race respects. Because it's the World Championships and everyone's done some amazing, and I feel like, I don't know if I'm ready to even start it, which is a fun place to be.
But that wasn't up to you.
No.
Right, and you're pretty confident you've done everything that you can.
I've done everything that I can. Yeah,
you can be
for
proud
sure.
of that, right?
Yeah.
What I'm proud of too is that I'm the same way emotionally, and the fact that we haven't cried yet
It's amazing.
is pretty amazing. I'm proud of myself. No, I love it, and really appreciate you being the person that you are, and the inspiration that you are to everybody watching, and hopefully they can listen to the podcast and gain a little bit more from you, because you're not just a emotional being that's got through it. Like you're doing so in a calculated manner, and it's impressive.
Thank you so much.
It's awesome. Great stuff from those three women. Obviously, a lot of inspiration to be had from Steph and Skye for the new mothers out there. Great to see both of their expectations kind of changing a little bit as the lives change, and that happens to all of us. So great to see them setting an amazing example, and then always a pleasure to sit down and talk to Hannah Berry. We know that she's going to be rising to the top of the race once things get a little bit difficult on Saturday. Can't thank them enough for sitting down and chatting with us, and thank you for listening in to the Ironman Insider podcast presented by Morton.